Number 1. So, my dad was super close to this girl in high school, and that's how I've come to know this story. Her name is Sam. Sam was really into art, like my dad, and was super chill. Sam was really pretty too. She had tons of brothers though, to come and beat up anyone who they didn't see fit as a suitor. But there was also this other guy, David. Sam wasn't super close to David, and David was a pretty quiet kid. He was nice and had a close circle of friends, which Sam wasn't in. He was just kind of a blurry face in the halls. However, David started changing classes at the beginning of the second semester in their junior year. He wasn't very into art, and most people, by their junior year, have a set interest. But this semester, he was suddenly in an art class. Sam would turn up to a class, and then suddenly, David was there too. She thought it was a bit creepy, sure, but not enough to make a fuss over. Like I said, she was chill. So she was polite to him, and since he was struggling in art class, which he was clearly not interested in, she helped him out a bit. This took a bit of a turn when she started to get calls from him all the time. He started talking to her in the halls, between classes, everywhere he got a chance. But when someone else answered the phone, or tried to talk to Sam at the same time as him, he would hang up or slink off. Sam started to get yelled at by her dad because of David's constant calling. This would subside, she thought. This is just a stupid guy testing his limits. She started reaching her limits when she heard strange things at night. Mind you, she lived way out of town, hidden back in some fields, and her bedroom was on the second floor. She started hearing knocking on her window, nails scratching on it. That sound you hear when you press your finger really hard on a wet window and drag it. Whenever she got to the window, though, she never saw anyone there. She started closing her blinds, making sure to lock her windows every night, checking once, twice, 3 times to make sure that yes, they were locked. She got scared and woke up in the night for no reason. At least, no reason came to mind. Except for 20 years later, when she was revisiting those nights again and telling me. When she said that she felt like even though the curtains were closed, someone was watching her. She would get sick to her stomach at night out of worry and go puke. And she said even then, she felt like David was there. However, she had no real proof to go on, other than his insistent calling and his attempts to make conversation. What pushed her overboard was when he would call her and tell her what she was wearing or what she was doing, or when she wouldn't pick up, come up to her in the hallways the next day and say, "I know what pajamas you were wearing last night." Whenever she would challenge him to give her an answer as to which pajamas she really was wearing, he would give her the right answer and leave without another word. She went home and told her parents, even though she didn't like to, because she wanted to take care of this herself, and telling her parents made her feel like a little kid. They moved her bedroom to the interior with no windows, but he would keep going. Her brothers would check all around the house, but there was no form of transportation outside to be found. They would check the woods across from their house. Nothing turned up. Whenever Sam tried to tell a teacher, someone, anyone who had any type of authority over the situation, they would pass it off as teenagers being teenagers and fooling around, playing some sort of joke to see how the teachers would react. The last straw was when Sam, on the interior bedroom with no windows, doors locked, windows everywhere in the house locked, everything shut up tight, heard a noise in the middle of the night, and felt like she was going to vomit. She listened closely and tried to hear breathing or steps of any kind. She heard her door creak open slowly and froze out of fear. When she came to her senses, she screamed her head off to make everyone in the house come running. She could hear so many pairs of footsteps that it was impossible to figure out how many there were and whose were whose. When her brothers, who were there first, got to her bedroom, they found the door already wide open, and Sam curled into a ball on her bed, not having moved an inch. They quickly ran around the house to find where he had gone. They heard footsteps outside, and found David scrambling into the aforementioned woods. There was no catching him in the dark now, even though they all knew those woods like the back of their hands. But they weren't going to just let the same thing happen that night. Her dad sat on the porch with his gun, while her brothers took other spots around the house. Sam stayed with her mother in her parents' bedroom, but they didn't sleep. Sam's brothers went to school the next day and kicked the shit out of David, and it stopped. Sam didn't switch back to her old bedroom. Though David was a quick learner and would probably learn from his mistakes, who was to say that he wouldn't come back again and actually do something to her physically this time? Sam never really felt safe, but nothing else turned up. David stayed away from her the rest of high school. Number 2. So, background info. I'm a 22-year-old female. Graduated from college last May. I'm back in my hometown to save money before heading off to grad school this coming September. My job is working as a full-time nanny to a lovely family. A pair of very sweet, well-behaved little girls. We'll call the 1-year-old Kelsey and the 5-year-old Harriet. Easy work, getting Harriet up, fed and ready for kindergarten, making sure Kelsey doesn't eat bugs out of her sandbox, taking them to afternoon activities, providing crayons and giving hugs. Pay is good. My friends jokingly refer to me as soccer mom. This is important. I'm typically in running shoes, yoga pants, baseball caps, and track jackets. I digress. Tuesdays are Harriet's ballet class. I drop her off, and then the 1-year-old and I have an hour to kill. We most frequent the strip mall across the street. Kelsey's managed to charm the coffee shop employees into free treats. 2 weeks ago, we go in to grab coffee, chocolate milk, and head to our usual seat by the window so she can squeal and pat the glass if a dog walks by. The coffee shop isn't usually very busy this hour, so I'm a little weirded out when a man sits in an armchair right next to ours. He's middle 40s, long greasy hair, very pale, very overweight. Whatever. It's probably nothing. I let it go. Then, I notice he's smiling at the kid, who's drooling on my arm. I think very little of this. The girls are mixed. Their mother is Japanese, and the father is American. They both have gorgeous features. And it's not every day you see an Asian child with green eyes and white blonde hair. Then, he opens his mouth. Nice mix you got. I'm used to people thinking I'm Kelsey's mother, so I laugh this off and explain that I'm her nanny. He ignores this. But she looks so much like you. It's okay to be a young mother. Don't be ashamed. I more firmly tell him that I'm her nanny, and then none of the guys of asking Kelsey if she wants to see the employees make coffee change their seat to a table closer to the counter. To my dismay, He looks at us for a few minutes, walks over, and plops down on the empty chair on our table. "Do you like Asian guys? Where's her father? Are you still with him?" I'm getting a little panicky at this point, and no one else seems to be noticing. The next exchange felt like it was 5 hours, but in reality it was probably only 3 minutes. Kelsey fusses to get off my lap, but I have no intentions of letting her go. "The baby wants to get down. Can I hold her?" At this point, before I have time to react or respond, the creep reaches across the table and strokes her cheek. I see red. I jump up, knocking my coffee over, screeching about not touching her. I start to walk out, or I try to, when I feel a hand on my shoulder. I want to hope it's an employee asking if I'm alright, but it's the creep. "You just look like such a perfect suburban housewife, and I think we would be great together." I'm not ashamed about what I did next. I'm not very intimidating looking. Harriet will probably be taller than me by the time she's 10, and I'm only about 115 pounds. So I figured brute strength and adrenaline would be my best bet. I tucked Kelsey under my arm, football style, and proceeded to deck the guy in the face. I ran out, never going back to the coffee shop again. On a more light-hearted note, the baby had a tantrum right after. Not because a creepy loser touched her face, but because I left her muffin on the table. Horrific. I told the parents, and they wanted me to report it, so I did. Nothing much came of it, but they did give me a raise, and said that such a protective nanny deserved it. So, creepy baby stalker guy in the coffee shop, let's not meet again. Number 3. I live in the sketchy area of the nice part of a city, so while it's not terrible, there are some weirdos around. I've personally never had a problem, but I've had female friends have several close calls. The direct neighborhood I live in is the dog area, so there is always dog people walking, and I definitely feel safe with my big-ass pit. The dog park is a fenced-in area within a larger park, right next to the lake. It's weird. We live in a huge city, but that park gets pitch black at night. There are trees and sheds and other obstacles inside the actual dog park. One night, around midnight, I decided to take my dog to the park as usual. My boyfriend was working the closing shift at his restaurant, and the bus stop was on the way of the park, so he decided to meet me there on his way home. As I am walking towards the park, I thought I saw the outline of a person inside. I actually could have sworn I did, because I am on constant vigilance for dog presence with a dog-reactive dog. I assumed someone with their dog was inside, so I walked around the park while keeping my eye on the dog park, waiting for them to leave. No one ever came out, and when I eventually approached the fence, I did not see anyone or their dog inside, so we enter and play as usual. Anyway, my dog and I are playing fetch, and he is running around doing his thing. I am standing next to the double-fenced entrance, reading the bulletin board. Randomly, my dog stops playing and runs up next to me. He sits quietly at my feet and is staring into the dog park. I didn't notice anything amiss. I thought it was kind of weird, but my dog is weird in general, so I didn't think that much of it. After a couple of minutes, my dog goes back to playing and my boyfriend comes up. He had apparently been trying to call me, but my phone was on silent. Dumb. Apparently, there was a guy, dressed completely in black with his hood up, standing on the other side of the fence staring at me. I had no idea he was there. My boyfriend was walking down the street towards the park and saw all of this. My dog then came up and sat, but actually sat facing the wrong direction and wasn't even looking at the guy. My boyfriend then said the guy stared for another 30 seconds or so and then took off sprinting across the park. What is extra creepy was there was a police patrol car sitting a couple blocks down. I think it's unsettling that I had no idea this guy was 3 feet from me. Did my dog's presence deter him? Didn't I interrupt a drug pickup? Looking to mug someone in a dark area? Was someone else inside the park the entire time, and that is what my dog was actually staring at? Did he sense something was up? I don't know. We got the fuck out of there immediately after. So, unknown person or persons doing unknown things. Let's not meet. Thanks for listening to another 3 True Scary Stories from Reddit. If you like this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up and also subscribe for future content. Until next time, have a great night everybody, and as always, stay safe.